Good morning. Well, the Aussie market did close 4 points higher throughout the session. We saw the markets going into the red, and if you have a look at the breakdown, it was really the banks that were holding back the index, and that was even with the strong result that came through from Westpac. But they didn't announce a special dividend this time, so investors maybe were looking for that in the numbers, even though they did see some very good growth and a big fall in bad and doubtful debts. Over to the European markets. Well, London market was closed for the May Day holiday. The rest of the European markets didn't do that well. We did see small changes coming into the market at the end of trade. A lot of concern about what's happening in the Ukraine, really holding investors out of the market. Over to the US markets, where the Dow was down by 135 points at the beginning of trade, made back some solid gains, some good money going into technical stocks and also into the banks, and also into some of the larger home lenders like Fannie and Freddie as well. What we saw at the end of trade was the Dow up by 18 points and the Nasdaq up by 14 points, a real reversal during the session. We had a lot more talk about what's happening with the pharmaceutical space. Pfizer coming out with their quarterly numbers. They were strong, but unfortunately people still concerned about where they're going to get future growth, especially because AstraZeneca has walked away from that takeover deal that came through last week. Looking at the gold price, it was higher, up by $8 an ounce to $1,311 an ounce. The oil price at the moment continuing to slide, now at $99.40 US a barrel. The Aussie market today set for a 12-point gain ahead of the RBA's rate decision. Money markets themselves, no real expectation of a change coming through in rates, and rates are staying on hold throughout most of this year. We will be watching to see if they've got any commentary they'd like to give us, more colour about the movements we've seen in the Australian dollar and also the housing market here in Australia, and the Aussie dollar ahead of all this at 92.73 US cents.